Hi, my name is Jennifer Dixon with Thrive Yoga and Wellness, formerly Yoga East, located in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Today we're going to talk about one of my lesser favorite poses. It's called Hero's Pose or Virasana. It is really good for you for stretching out the fronts of your legs, the quads. However, it's challenging if you have knee issues or really tight quads. So I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different variations of the pose, and keep in mind that where you are on your journey is going to be way different than where I am on my journey. And so I have a little bit of limited mobility here in my knees, believe it or not. Of all the places in my body, it's my knees that I struggle with the most with mobility. But that's fine. I'm not going to push it, and neither should you. Your knees are definitely going to give, and not in the way that you want if you force them. So just go really slow. And that's why I wanted to demonstrate this posture, because I do struggle with this pose a lot. It's really hard because I was such an avid runner back in those days that my knees just don't like to bend that way. Pose or Virasana is entered into. Generally, you have your knees together and your feet come out wider than your hips. So my heels are on the outside of my hips. Now, you like Japanese style, right? When they're in the Japanese tea, you probably saw it. What was that Tom Cruise movie? I can't remember. And so this is Hero's Pose. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I do not like hanging out here in Hero's Pose. You're going to see, I'll show it to you from the side. You want to make sure your heels are on the outsides of your hips, but they're not so far out you're looking like you've got chicken legs, right? Your chicken arms. They're just beside the hips. They're touching. But here's the thing, folks. Unless I'm in a super hot class, really warmed up, and I'm not right now, I can't hang out in this pose. My knees can't take it. So what do? I went and I grabbed a block. I elevated my hips ever so slightly above my heels and my knees. And that little bit of elevation was all that I needed to be able to create enough space for my thighs to relax, my feet to get a little bit of a stretch, and my knees to be okay with this posture. But check out what's going on in my back. My back is straight, right? I'm not slouching. I'm also not too much. This is a slight tuck of the tailbone even here to ensure a good posture and safe in the low back. So you can hang out here and breathe. This is really good for even your ankles. You can see your ankles are getting a stretch. If you want, you can give yourself a little bit of a foot massage. Honestly, if you're hanging out here for any amount of time like they would in a yin class, you got to do whatever you got to do to get over this. But what happens if even this is too much? There are things that you can do. If you have big sofa cushions, big sofa pillows, you can sit up on that. Even if you're sitting up almost this high on a block, I'm going to put the block up on a higher level. This is still a modification of this Hero's Pose, right? So you're still working through that range of motion in the knees, and you're still getting some mobility, some mobility in your ankles and the tops of your feet. Now, what happens if this is still too much for you? You can do, this is actually kind of neat, honestly. What you can do is you can grab a pair of socks and stick it right here in between your hamstring and your calf. What does that do? For you to be able to bend and you still have space in the knees. So I should have grabbed a sock, but I didn't. I'm going to grab a blanket. Any blanket. And I'm going to fold the blanket up to where I have about the thickness of what a rolled up thing of socks would be. It can be even wider. It really depends on your range of motion with your knees. So as you can see, I've got, what is that, maybe 2 inches thick. I'm going to go ahead and roll it a little bit more to get a little more space for my knees. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like. Put it here between my hamstrings and my calves. That's all you need to do, but now we need to do it in Hero's Pose. So how do you do that? I'm going to come up to my shins. My feet are pressing into the mat. Remember, this is also very good for your feet. You're going to take your sock, or in my case, this folded blanket, and you're going to put it in the little crack in the back of your knees. And then you're going to sit on it. So what happens when you have a blanket, it also kind of acts as your block, right? So you're kind of creating a swing in your blanket. And this helps to create just enough space in the back of the knee that this is tolerable. Heels are still beside my hips, you can see. And my knees are still together. When you're first starting out, your knees are probably going to want to sway a little bit. Hug those in so that you can really get stretched. Here's the thing. You're going to be in a class and folks are going to be leaning back. And then one day, I can't demonstrate it, you're going to have your hands over your head just like this, right? I don't recommend doing that until you can comfortably, read here comfortably, get your bottom all the way down onto the mat. See, here's my bottom on the mat. It's not comfortable. And then you start to slowly walk back. I'm not going to demonstrate it because this posture, my knees don't like it. So I'm going to hang out right here and breathe and hope for the best, right? So hero's pose or Virasana is really great, like I said, to help to build some mobility in the knees. It helps to stretch the quads, and it also builds mobility in your feet. Something that we all need because as we age and we keep wearing pretty shoes, our feet quit being able to point and flex quite as well. So the more we move them, the better it'll be for you. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about Virasana, hero's pose. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate. Drop me a note below. I will be happy to answer them. Until then, namaste.